Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Dynasty Warriors 8 on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, we're going into the Battle of Yi Ling with Lu Xun and his Shadow Swallow Swords. The shadow short swords that Lu Xun is using. They're technically called swallow swords, and that is based on the bird. But they are really, really weird. They have the ability to summon shadow clones, but the shadow clones are extremely temporary. They do moderate damage, and a majority of his move kit is about bringing a group together so he can deal lots of elemental triggers, specifically fire. But honestly, most of his kit is in line with dueling as opposed to a group play. He gets interesting disables, but I am not comfortable with this weapon set. Hey, Lu Meng.
No.
Yeah, everyone around the camp is worried because we are vastly outnumbered in this battle, and they're worried that Liu Bei is just in a total berserk rage that's going to overwhelm us with sheer numbers. But we have a plan. We're going to do a fire attack.
Yes. In about 45 seconds when we open the gate. No, we're going to do it right now in order to meet the foes who are waiting outside our impenetrable fortress.
Well, no, it's going to take us a little bit to actually set up the fire attack, but once we actually have the fire attack up and going, that is the primary thing. But you see, that's what I mean. The shadow clones that the Swallow Swords bring out aren't as effective as they're supposed to be. They mirror your movements, and your movements are relatively slow and not effective against large groups.
Oh, dude, I mean, duel on the outside of the phalanx so that your shadow is in combat range and dealing damage while you're invulnerable at a distance.
Oh no, that's the problem. Your shadow doesn't go forward. It very strictly mirrors where your position is. So I can't. I'm not really in control of the shadow.
Well, so what? It appears in different places.
No, it appears in the same. It appears in the same place depending on which charge attack you do. But it's always going to be on the opposite side of the vertical line of where your character is.
Right, but you could. I believe you could control that in order to. Well, I mean, while you're, apparently shadow boxing, you're actually using your shadow in order to attack the guys who are just a bit to the right of you.
And it doesn't work as well as it's supposed to be perfectly honest.
Damn it. It does seem like a way to avoid taking damage because you got the hell of a reach.
Because a lot of the attacks are honestly really slow, and you don't really have very good coverage behind or next to you. I don't like the Swallow Sword set. I don't. I like Lu Xun as a character. His entire story arc is about how he is the youngest Wu commander to have come up, and no one actually trusts him except he's absolutely brilliant at his command and tactics, to where he is able to give a very interesting and well thought out orders to individual units in order to have a special mission succeed on a much greater level. And because he's a sword user, his cavalry attacks aren't actually all that good either.
No, it's funny you mention his ability to organize people by tactics. His shadow is it African or European shadow anyway that by summoning a familiar, it also demonstrates that he has command grasp of humanoids as well as, by persuasion and leadership, humans.
I will admit that the fire circus juggle that he's got right here is actually a really kick-ass EX attack. But you need to have full Musa in order to trigger elemental damage, and even then, it's not as I just really wish that it had a full 180 cone cover, and it just doesn't. It's got a relatively awkward 90 cone cover instead of the 180 that I want it to have.
I was half expecting your Shadow Familiar to have just a horse trotting right next to you. That would have been pretty fucking dope.
No. Unfortunately, the Shadow is very strictly tied to our charge attacks. So.
Another step forward in my training is the future of Wu.
Yeah. By the power of learning. And smacking.
So what's new in the world of plot as we attempt to get over to the other side of the map because we're on the wrong side of the map at the moment.
Well, what's going on in the world of Gerdat? What's going on in the world of Cloud, of course, is Mr. Gerdat's curiosity, which he respects very much in the third person. Still getting used to the new space. I mean, it's unmistakable. Like, I can even hear the acoustics bouncing upon me because the ceilings are a little bit closer because of the size of the room, which I may have mentioned in previous parts. So, I'm just getting used to the new habitation, and especially looking forward to even more uses of the new studio space. It's pretty nice. Makes a man want to write some music even.
Are we looking at a sequel to Gerdat's Red Balloon? Like when the Swallow Swords actually get into these slow-mo dueling sections, they actually look like they would be really fun and kick-ass to play with. But nah, man, they just don't. I need to find something else to talk about aside from the
swallows. Well. That's his main weapon. He brandishes both of them on each side of him like a muh, and I respect him for it. His fighting style just... Well, I mean, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but I am going to say that by optimizing this character, you could have some pretty dope command of any battle situation, except maybe during boss encounters, where his tenacity for dueling would conflict with his need to control the crowd.
Well, that's actually where Lu Xun honestly excels at, in my personal opinion. He's actually an amazing duelist. It's just that
he can't do both.
He needs to get into that situation, and Dynasty Warriors 8 doesn't really like dueling. It doesn't, to be perfectly honest.
Not in this playthrough, doesn't. We hate dueling
also,
in this playthrough.
we failed to rescue Ganding. Oh well.
Oh really?
Yep. Ganding has been slain. That is one of the only deaths that will actually happen on screen. Although
barbarians.
There. Now this door is finally open.
We must defeat him as
well.
well.
Hey, Wei Yan. Wei Yan is actually my favorite member of Shu.
Whoa. Yeah.
He's got a double-sided Volg, and god damn it is really fun to play with. Not as much fun in this game as it is in Dynasty Warriors 5 specifically. I love playing with Wei Yan in Dynasty Warriors 5. It is really fun and comedic to play with him there, especially if you bothered to outget him with ice as his primary element instead of what is normally his primary element, which is fire.
Yes, in order to use the fire attack.
I was hoping that door would actually open once we took down Wei Yan, but it does not. We gotta go take down Guan Suo first.
I kind of like it how solo-wise versions of like multiplayer games, like fighting games, for instance, that use like charge based on hits to, they actually modulate the sequence going through the story experience because they control how far your charge meter can go, which means that by the time you get to the boss, for instance, you're usually just about ready to unleash anything. Dance with me. What the fuck is even happening?
What effectively is happening is that we are blowing through our true Musa rage attack, which is effectively Lu Xun's only real method of crowd clearing.
Crowd annihilation. Like, there were so many bodies I couldn't see anything
still love
but.
the fire circus chuckle. That is nice. Yay, Lu Xun hit level 50, which gives us the equipable scale swallow swords. And okay, so when a character hits level 50, you'll gain in your inventory the weapon skill for them. And what the weapon skill allows you to do is equip that onto any character in order for that character to have instant mastery of that particular weapon style. It is very, very important that I mention this, that I will not be using any of the weapon skills that I have, because if I was going to be using any of the weapon skills that I have, I would just be using the katana one. That way I could, do Jotai's dash juggling constantly all over the goddamn place.
All over the goddamn place.
All over the goddamn place.
Infinite.
Here's Liu Bei. He is under rage mode. But because we're such good at dueling, we get to juggle him effectively infinitely. Whoa.
Yeah, because as soon as he gets back up, you can hit him again. He's got no style. He's got no grace. This dude's got a ragey face.
One of the best things about the Shadow specifically is that it has the ability to penetrate blocks specifically. We got Black Widow, which is actually one of the unique weapons of the Fellowship swords that the Liu Bei's got. There are 2 unique weapons for each weapon style in the game, and then after that there are an additional 2 which I qualify as mastery weapons. The 2 unique weapons for each weapon style are relatively low power, but they come with almost maxed out skills on them. So some of them are actually really cool. Most of the time, however, because they're usually level 1 or level 2 mastery weapons, they aren't actually all that worthwhile, because base power is one of the defining features later on in the game.
And meanwhile, let's not gloss over that past Gerdat was riding his horse into a wall for
I'm waiting for the door to open.
It didn't open yet, did it?
No, it did not open yet.
Oh, that is too funny.
Yeah,
Well,
that door for some reason still doesn't fucking open. I have to go around this way.
I intended this pathway.
So here is one of the more famous moments of the Battle of Yi Ling, the Stone Sentinel Maze. This is a trap devised by Zhuge Liang in order to make it so that the Shu forces have a method of both stabilizing and retreating. Every single Dynasty Warriors game does the Stone Sentinel Maze drastically differently. And Dynasty Warriors 8, the specific gimmick is that we have to travel through a majority of the maze, triggering each of the torch checkpoints. Once we have lit all 4 of the I believe it's 4 of the torch checkpoints, then we will have the ability to leave the maze. Lu Xun's usually what they will do is have Lu Xun's level 5 or level 6 mastery weapon on this mission, and you have to clear the maze, and I think it's 2 minutes in order to get it. Which is why I haven't done it yet, because I don't like playing with Lu Xun.
The Shadow Soldiers are coming.
Yeah, what they mean by that is that if you'll notice, very briefly, there are. It doesn't look like they're on screen at the moment, but in some of these encounters, we are going to witness soldiers that are actually transparent, and you cannot damage them because they are transparent, but they can still damage you. So
they're copying the Swallow's Fury.
Kinda, sorta. The thing is that the other characters throughout the game have the ability to summon these. Phantom Soldiers. That's what they're called. You can first encounter Phantom Soldiers in the Yellow Turban Rebellion, depending on which story mode you're playing. As Phantom Soldiers is one of the traps by
The gate
Nope.
has been
There they
shut
are.
tight
There's Phantom
by
Soldiers.
the Phantom Soldiers.
Phantom Soldiers are an interesting gimmick, and on the higher difficulties, they actually are a legitimate threat you have to worry about. But we're still only on normal mode, so we get to effectively ignore them for the most part.
900 kills, and all of them easily visible while in motion.
Fire Circus.
You are incredible. You could practice running.
So did Marvel vs. Capcom 3 have what was the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 quote for 90 plus hits?
I expected more of a challenge after all this time, Chris.
I don't think that would.
That would have been Wesker's. They would play the whole damn Resident Evil 5 cutscene too. Well, at least that part of it.
Was Wesker actually good in MVC3?
I know not. I mean, I guess it's what is the trope generally held about cameo characters in games, like Link in Soul Calibur 2, for instance?
Well, Wesker wouldn't be a cameo in MVC3. He would be, he wouldn't be a guest character. He would be a straight up member of a normal member of the roster.
He is a Capcom creation. Injected with the
I don't
Capcom
know about
virus.
Spawn specifically, but both Link and Heihachi were relatively good in Soul Calibur 2.
Hell yeah, Link was good.
Link specifically has got some of the best special moves in the game, and Heihachi actually brings over most of his Tekken combo list.
Right, so
I just don't know if Spawn was any good or not.
as I recall, I think Spawn is very playable. But again, this is relying on knowledge that has long since been locked away in basically a children's toy chest. Torch troop.
There.
Hey, we made it.
We have successfully made it out of the Stone Sentinel maze. Where are you, Zhuge Liang? There you are. You're under rage mode at the moment.
I am angry. I am impressed. However, my rage has a ball sack ready to put on your chin.
There. We have slain Zhuge Liang.
I'm not as ragey anymore.
Alright, so now we just gotta take down Liu Bei.
This dude is pissed.
Yep.
Swing back, everyone. Alright, now time to dance with this motherfucker. Yes.
Yes. Dance with me, Liu Bei.
Whee,
Swish,
whee.
wish, 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 wish. So, Lu Xun's True Musa Rage Attack actually has got actually allows his shadow to perform a vacuum pull. That's effectively what's going on there. And yay, we have successfully gone through Yi Ling.
Cut me down
No!
to avenge Guan Yu and the murder of
Oh my
Zhong
god,
Fei.
it's a cutscene. People only die in cutscenes in this game.
No, Gan Ning is
May
dead.
now be
I
with
promise.
My brothers again. I wish for nothing else.
Xiang.
I won't let you kill him. Not even by your hand, brother.
Need I remind you that he's the one that broke our treaty and attacked us?
But why?
You would level your weapon at your own flesh and blood? The land I seek to create does not lie beyond such sad carnage. Liu Bei, what is this benevolence of which you speak?
And why haven't you been following it for the past 5 years?
What land do you seek to create?
I wish to bring peace and happiness to the people.
And how will you accomplish that by going on vengeancing?
I see now. Of course. that I had turned my back on those ideals.
This is honestly one of my favorite cutscenes between
And yet you still
for
hold them
the
dear.
Wu clan, because it actually shows that they are not they're the ones that are actually practicing the ideals that Liu Bei
In the land I seek
preaches
to
about for the
create, there
entirety of
will
his
be a
run.
place for your benevolence.
That's why the power of rock. We will accomplish peace and happiness.
We already played Brutal Legend though.
Well, that's by the power of metal. But metal is
Oh.
derived from rock. So, we must experience the rock.
This battle is a victory for Wu.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get to play as Sun Quan eventually. I think we actually end the campaign with a run through with Sun Quan.
Only Wei remains.
But where were they going without ever
Against
knowing
their
the...
path of conquest.
All right, everyone. Be safe.
Thanks for watching.